Do you remember to rank it?
I did. It was easy.
Yeah. Me too.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. I'm excited about this ranking of the comics. I was going to ask you, James, what when we get into the book, what would be your 3 multiple personalities?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Because I came up with mine.
Ask you which one your favorite was. I think I can come up with something pretty quick.
I would be a cowboy, a monkey, and a bear.
Oh, okay. I would be a. I think I'd go lumberjack. I think I'd go. Ooh, man, because you want diversity.
You do. But these are always my favorites.
Yeah. I guess I'd go like decathlete. Olympic decathlete? No, and I don't know if I like that anymore. I like lumberjack though.
So you'd be a lumberjack, an athlete, and then but probably a scientist.
And probably like a scientist of some kind.
Right on. Hi, and welcome to the show. This is Seattle's #1 comic book podcast, the podcast that is dedicated to the first issue of your next favorite comic, episode 97, and I'm Larry.
I'm James, the lumberjack scientist athlete. I'm going to revise that by the end of this.
All right, so tonight we're talking about Cowboy, Ninja, Viking.
One of the best titles of a comic we've come across for sure.
Yeah, when I told James this last week, he was like, "What's it called?"
It was one of the few times I didn't have to go back and look up what the name was when I was looking it up on Comixology. I accidentally typed in, Ninja Cowboy. I think I didn't say Viking. I think I said something else. But it was so close that it came up anyway.
Right on. So you found it. I'm happy because I hope that we're not the only ones who've read it because it was a good book. I enjoyed it a lot. But before we get into that, I want to talk about a real fast, recent and decent.
Nice.
So, every week we have a comic book club here at my house, and somebody brought.
It's called Larry's Comic Book.
Larry's Comic Book Club, and Jason brought. Say that again.
Good name.
Yeah, original. Jason brought something called. This is under the banner of a cult classic, and it's called Return to Whisper, and it's from a new publisher. Totally excited about this. I've looked at their website and they have some great stuff coming out. They're called Vault Comics. This came out in February of 2018, and the creators. It's called Vault.
Yeah, have we done anything by Vault?
No, it's a brand new publisher.
Brand new.
And they're
recent and decent issue. Series and publisher.
Exactly. That's pretty cool stuff. And so Google Vault Comic and you'll see that they've got a couple different titles up, but the one I want to talk about is called Return to Whisper. And it is a kind of like an 80s homage.
That title? Wait, I kind of want to guess based on the title. Return to Whisper. Is Whisper the name of the place?
I think so. Yeah.
That's not as cool as those. So I was hoping everyone started whispering.
Remember when we just talked like this?
Yeah, like that. Where instead of everyone going blind, everyone goes whisper.
No, in this case, it's a club, and it's a club of kids in the 90s, and they watch scary movies, and they are invited
Scary
to.
Movies has a good whisper.
Yeah, so they come up with the idea of breaking into this museum, and because one of their dads has the keys to this museum, and there's an actual treasure map, and
Sweet. It's a good hook for first issue.
It's a good hook, and they treasure map themselves into the future.
Whoa!
After they've made up their mind, after they've so here's the hook. They've already found the treasure, but they're not going to open the treasure and get into the treasure until they're adults and know what to do with the treasure, because their parents would take the treasure away from them. But upon getting
take a peek.
Upon getting to the when they come back to 15 years later to the day where they were going to open the treasure and divvy up the goods, because they're all adults now. Somebody doesn't make it. And
I guess life expectancy of whatever. People don't make it.
Yeah, well, it's mysterious circumstances. It's good stuff. The art is a little it's just almost serviceable art. It's like that kind of slowed down a couple of the guys in the club, but I really got into it. It's a Goonies vibe. It's a scary vibe. It's like Vault Comics is going to be more of a horror genre comic publisher, so I'm on board. It's recent and decent. It's called Return to Whisper, and it's from Vault Comics.
Did you ever read The Magic Treehouse? It's like a kid's series where they like time travel, mystery solve.
No, but it sounds good. I love tree houses.
Oh, it's one of the better. It's comparable to Hardy Boys or Boxcar Children.
Okay.
It's a little bit more modern though.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always talking about treehouse and putting a treehouse in our backyard because we have a huge sequoia. Oh, I love that tree. All right, you want to get into Cowboy Ninja Viking?
Let's do it. And I definitely am going to have to read the intro to this one.
Yeah,
because if I hadn't read this before I started, like I read it before I started reading the comic, and I'm not sure if I'm glad I did or not, because I'm not sure if it told me too much. But if it hadn't, then I would have been very confused.
You would have been lost. I read the summary, and I still was lost. But I'll give the credits, and then you do the summary. All right. Okay. Written by A.J. Lieberman, and art by Seattle's #1 comic book podcast favorite, Riley Rosmo.
Yeah.
All right, James.
All right. It started with Sebastian Gieslin. Ghislain. Gieslin.
Gieslin.
All right. Rogue psychotherapist / covert op / DJ. Tasked with creating a counterintelligence unit, he turned to those long thought useless to society. Patients with multiple personality disorder. These agents became known as triplets. Misguided? Yeah. Impractical? Sure. But did it work? Absolutely not. Now, someone has located each triplet and created a band of ridiculously disturbed but highly effective assassins. Our only hope, a triplet known as Cowboy Ninja Viking.
It's so silly.
Alright, so it's definitely silly. It's definitely crazy. I almost feel like the silliness took over, though, a little bit.
That wasn't a problem for me, but what sort of was a problem was the silliness didn't show up until kind of far in the book, and I was like, are they being earnest with this like diver guy? And I was like,
yeah, it's tough to tell what's a joke and what's part of this absurd reality, because the people are all saying things that may or may not be true, and we don't really know enough. Like, a lot of times there's jokes, but I don't know if they're a joke or not. I just assume they are. But I also know that I'm missing jokes.
It's black comedy, maybe, because I laughed aloud in a couple different spots here, and I was like, "That is pretty funny."
But like, okay, it's starting off this thing. It says it started with Dr. Sebastian whatever, and his three. So it tells you that there's these type of characters they called triplets, which is like, okay, they decided multiple personality means 3 personalities. Fine. Psychotherapist, covert op, and DJ. I don't know if I like that combo. And he's not even really like a main character. in the first issue.
Yeah, we don't meet him in the first issue. No.
We don't even. So it says it started with him, but we don't even know. So that probably threw me off a little bit. But then the idea of like, oh, it's this like, it's kind of it's a farce. Like, it's a superhero who's not really a superhero. Like, we think it's going to be effective, but it's not going to be effective. But just the idea of like starting off knowing that it's not going to be effective is kind of a weird way to do it.
I kind of like that the idea that it was just a dangerous idea.
Yeah, like it's like the silly. It's like they started with the title, and then they're like, "How do we make this a thing?"
And then work backwards, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, and some of the like not to jump too far ahead, but like our hero just lopped some guy's head in two, like the dangerous.
Yeah,
like,
and it seemed like out of nowhere. It seemed.
Yeah, that's what just really like this disturbing. Like these people
but it was like a joke too.
Yeah, it was done in a funny.
Yeah, it was like that's like a scene in a movie where like a guy walks across the street and he gets hit by a bus and he didn't see it coming.
Right, and that's
like,
exactly
that.
Got
his head chopped off.
That's a great way to describe that particular scene because he's just talking about nothing, and all three of the characters, the one character, but they're all three different characters, ninja, Viking, cowboy, all are having this conversation, inner monologue, and then one of them just says, let's go ahead and do it. And they do it. And it's so, like, bizarre.
Yeah, so I guess we should explain. So for the way the artist, like, interprets these three personalities is sometimes it'll do like a 1, 2, 3 what do you call that type of paneling? Where it's like, it's the three faces of the three ninja. I think I did pirate. I think I typed in pirate. Cowboy, ninja, Viking.
I want to change my bear to a pirate.
But you have the three heads, each like almost like a what's the Greek monster with the three? Hydra. Like a Hydra, or like the three, they're bickering or conflicting with each other, or you hear their three independent thoughts, but then you see the action of the real person.
Right. And
so it's almost like there's four characters.
Yeah, it was a little bit hard to get at first. And also the word bubbles have the weapon of choice of the said character. So if you're looking at if the ninja is talking, there's
oh my goodness! That's so helpful. I didn't even realize that.
Oh, you didn't see that? So if the Vikings talking, there's a double axe. If the Cowboy's talking, there's a 6-gun. Like a shooter, like a pistol going through the word bubble.
That's such a good. I've never seen someone do that, but that's great.
Oh, it's the first time I've ever seen it. I thought it was just totally ingenious. So there's the samurai sword going through the ninja's word bubble. So you see that, but then they also like really beat you over the head with this by changing, and this bothered me because they
kind of did me too.
They changed the physical look of whoever is speaking at the time. So sometimes he has a cowboy hat on.
It's hard to follow.
And yeah, it was a little bit hard to follow. And then when you see him, sometimes he doesn't have all this garb. And sometimes he's just like a dude with...
And sometimes he's holding the gun and the sword, and he has the Viking helmet on. But sometimes he's in blue. So we didn't mention this comic's a black and white comic, but it also has blue.
Uh-huh.
And I think that triplets might be in blue.
Oh.
But like parts of other characters are in, like, the blue is used as shading sometimes too. Right. Yeah, so there's a little bit of blue in... At one point I was like, oh, I found the secret code. Like, a triplet is blue. But that's not consistent. Okay, yeah. I think that was just an artist choice. But then also, like, when they do the three faces, like, that thought bubble is very helpful, but sometimes they're kind of zoomed in on the face and you couldn't tell which one was which. Right. Also... Like they're very shadowy. Like, it'd be nicer... I would appreciate kind of more detail and seeing what they really look like.
Oh, a crisper art.